So as you guys know, we've got the release of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 03 and TCM The Beginning coming out on 4K soon. So I'm kind of feeling Platinum Dunesy right now. I thought, well, this would be a good time because with those coming out, that's going to keep me a little bit busy, to go back and revisit the one Platinum Dunes remake that I have not reviewed yet, ever. I don't even think I have an actual formal review for this movie up on YouTube. It's possible, but it might have been years ago. That movie is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. Boy, oh boy, let's talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. My story starts back in 2010. I had gotten bit by the horror bug about a year and change earlier. I saw both Rob Zombie Halloween films in the theater. Hell, I even saw Friday the 13th, the remake, in the theater. Now, my opinion of those when I saw them were so fun, but I was so innocent. I had not much else to compare it to. I hadn't really dove into all the movies yet, but the Elm Street remake was the horror remake out of those three that I saw after seeing the actual rest of the franchise. I had seen all the Elm Street films up until that point. 1, 2, Dream Child, you name it. So going into this one was definitely going to be something where I had stuff to compare it to. And stuff is Robert Englund, of course, the man that personified a character so popular that Freddy Krueger was absolutely obliterating Michael and Jason in the box office. We talk about Halloween 4 being this big return from Michael, but when you look at the numbers, Halloween 4 didn't even do half of what the Dream Master did in the theater. And Halloween 4 was considered a big hit. That's how big Freddy was, and that's how much of a grasp he had on pop culture. There was really nothing else like it at the time. With that being said, I vividly remember seeing this film and being swept away by the intro of the movie. The one thing I want to talk about initially with the Elm Street remake that I have always said I loved, not even liked, but loved, was the soundtrack. Now, I love the Charles Bernstein score. It's about as legendary as anything in the horror genre. But Steve Jablonsky was the right man at the right time. He did the soundtrack for the Friday the 13th remake, and Elm Street was another one that he did. The music he did for this film, I think, is the champion of this movie. More than anything, quite frankly. I think if you actually go and listen to the score separated, you will hear just how atmospheric and creepy it is, especially the opening themes. Steve Jablonsky is an unsung hero in that remake era from the early 2010s and late 2000s. Man, I love your music till this very day. Here I was thinking we were going to see this girl in this boiler room in the beginning facing down this sheep or goat that runs down an alleyway, and before you know it, Freddy would pop up, but instead we're inside of this diner. Now, it's the Springwood Diner, so it's a very nice touch. It would have been cool if it was the Crave Inn. The first thing I noticed when watching this film, and I don't know if I still feel this way because when I watch a movie from this time, I'm instantly transported back, but I swear when you watch this movie, the actors that are playing these teenagers look like they're my age now. I'm 33, and I swear when I see them on screen, I feel like I'm looking at peers. And honestly, they were younger than me, obviously, now when filming that, but that is something that reminds me so much of that era now. It's just like there were people that were like 29, 30, 27 playing 17-year-olds, and I mean, that's 10 years. It's a big difference. But I remember feeling fairly optimistic during that scene watching it. I was like, wow, there's some real tension here. The way Freddy gets introduced where he's just shaking his finger knives when he's going up to that guy in the beginning, I actually think is a nice touch. Fast forward to where we finally see the guy get killed, and he shoves a kitchen knife into his throat and just turns it. I got to admit, when I saw that scene, I was like, oh wow, this is pretty intense. We're probably going to be okay. Little did I know that the movie was going to be taking some different turns from that point. Overall, after revisiting this film for this review, I still feel that the opening scene is probably one of, if not the strongest scenes of the movie. I think I can even equate that pretty much to like the Friday remake. Most people love the opening scene of the Friday remake and they feel the movie is a little bit lackluster from the opening. I kind of feel that way as well. I'm not going to just exclude Friday. I know I love that remake, but I agree that the opening is the best of the Friday remake. I would also say that the intro of Elm Street is probably the best part of the film. This is where things take the biggest turn. Now, in A Nightmare on Elm Street, the most beloved character, besides Freddy, of course, has to be Heather Langenkamp's Nancy. She is a strong-willed girl who's not afraid to face down challenges and becomes a really forthright character. Even more so than I would think like a Laurie Strode from Halloween at that time. The character of Nancy has stood the test of time, and there's no denying that, nor am I going to even try to deny that. But in this one, they took a different approach altogether. Rooney Mara's Nancy almost feels like she doesn't even want to be on camera. The way she acts in this movie is so weird to me. Now, I understand being the repressed, withdrawn, feeling like you don't fit in type of character, but you watch it and tell me you don't agree. I feel like she doesn't even want to be filming it. Like, not even as the character in the film, but just the person. She acts like she doesn't want to be there. It comes across so cold to me. I don't like it whatsoever. I think there's genuinely a way to have a character feel withdrawn and not comfortable in her own skin that the audience can really relate to and fall in love with. But in this movie, it just feels like the cold shoulder to me the whole time. I think the way we're even introduced to her is her with headphones on. Like, leave me alone, people. I don't even want you to know what's going on inside my head. I don't know. I don't necessarily blame Rooney for this. The fact of the matter is, she's doing a part that the director likes what he sees. He's the one calling action. He's the one saying cut. He's the one making the final decision. So I'm not necessarily going to blame her, but the story does go that apparently this experience of doing this film for her was so bad that it killed any rumor of a sequel happening after this. If that's true, I guess maybe she really didn't want to be there. I gotta give this movie a little bit of props for taking some chances with, like, the characters of this movie. They don't try to necessarily replicate the first movie in that aspect, which I think was a good touch, quite frankly. And there is somewhat of a saving grace for this movie that without this, I really don't know if I could find any enjoyment out of it. And that is Quentin. He is a character that honestly should have been the Nancy of this film. Nancy should have reversed the roles, and she could have been the extra character or the supporting character to Quentin. I believe Quentin. I really wish for Quentin's safety while watching it. He has the best nightmare sequences too. His sequence where he's in the swimming pool and comes out into this decrepit world where Freddy's getting chased away, where you think he's innocent and they lead you to believe he's innocent up until a certain point of the film, has to be the best dream sequence of the film, where we see the parents getting trapped in that house and they set it on fire. That is the best stuff. Quentin's character has the best scenes in the entire movie to me. And let's go back for a second when it comes to dream sequences. Why is it that this movie took place in 2010 where technology is better, advancements have been made, yet every special effects scene just looks worse in this film? I'm talking about the scene where the girl gets caught up and put onto the roof like in the original film. Well, that gets remade in this one, and it doesn't look anywhere near as good as the original. And don't get me started on the CGI Freddy coming out of the wall in Nancy's bedroom. There's a movie called The Frighteners that came out in 1996 that had a similar type of scene where a ghost comes out of the wall. Granted, this was a Robert Zemeckis film, so budget was there, but my point is, this movie took place 14 years earlier and looked better than that. I don't get it. Why does that scene look like shit? It really pisses me off because why not leave well enough alone? Get more spandex, put it on the wall, dim the lights, and do some shading, and make Freddy come out the wall. It would have looked 10 times better than that. I will say that the crappy CGI matched the personality of Nancy in this film, though, so there's that. Again, I don't dislike Rooney Mara. I think she's actually a good actress. I loved her in the movie Her, which is a really interesting and weird movie where she did a great job. But this movie did her no favors, and again, I blame the director. She's the actor doing what the director wants. Okay, so let's talk about the Freddy performance in this by Jackie Earle Haley. Listen, there are days where I say to myself, there's never going to be anybody that can do Freddy well. There's other days where I say, well, yeah, there's somebody out there that can do Freddy well. And some days I say, I think Jackie did a great job. Depending on which day you catch me, I could have one of those three opinions. Right now, at this very second, my opinion is, there's just nobody that can do Freddy as well as Robert ever can or will do. It's like replacing Stallone as Rocky to me. It's the face, it's the voice. It's not like Jason or Michael where you can get a brooding dude to put on a mask. I don't know. I think there's just some issues with this Freddy. For one, if you watch the special features on the DVD or Blu-ray of this film, you're going to learn that Freddy actually had green spots on his head where they CGI'd part of his makeup in post. Why are we CGIing part of Freddy's makeup, especially when it's just little bits and pieces? What's the point of that? Another thing about Freddy that I just don't know how to feel, it's different from day to day, is the low brooding voice that they gave Jackie. It just doesn't seem right to me. I almost wish they would have let Jackie just use his own voice. I mean, when they took Robert's voice, they did dim him down in pitch a little bit, but even then, it wasn't that low. It's not like your speakers rumble when Freddy would speak. In this one, they dropped Freddy's voice so low, he would make Barry Manilow sound like Mickey Mouse. I think they just overdid it to try to make it creepy, when in actuality, Jackie Earle Haley is an amazing actor. Why not just let the guy go for it and put his voice and spin on Freddy? Let's see what he could have done. Don't tell me that you don't think he couldn't have done that if you're on the producer side. I mean, you guys hired him because he's a talented actor. So I don't know if Jackie just got a fair shake on the production side of things. The fans are going to have their opinion, and my opinion is no more valid than anybody else's or worth more. If people don't think Jackie did a great job, then they're right in a certain way. And if other people liked him, well, they're right too. That's what opinions are all about, how you perceive it. But I don't know that we've really gotten Jackie's full take on this character all the way. I mean, when he's got CGI graphics on his head as Freddy, and his voice is so modularized, I don't know. Let me see what Jackie really would have done. So I'm never really going to be able to have a full, honest opinion on Jackie's Freddy. Plus, having only one movie, it's really not enough to give a full opinion on a performance with a character like Freddy. You've got to have some movies to flesh some stuff out. Maybe Jackie's Freddy in the next movie would have had some different things he would have done from the first movie, or it would have just been developed a little bit more. But there's one thing about this movie, watching it back, that is the biggest "you've got to be kidding me" of all time. And I'm not saying this would have saved the movie, but it definitely would have made things interesting. They had the opportunity and set this movie up for Freddy to be innocent. Now, I know some of you may be saying, well, Freddy's not innocent. He was guilty, and that's why he became a demon in the afterlife, because he was like the devil. He was this evil person. Yes, but they had this set up to where it seemed like this Freddy was innocent. And now you could be wondering, well, why would Freddy become this demon after his death then? In my opinion, there could have been this whole thing where Freddy had bargained with the devil to get revenge because he was killed unjust. And that could have been something we could have seen in a sequel if there would have been another sequel. But that could have really differentiated this Freddy and would have been a really big swing that I personally think could have and probably would have, after all this time, paid off. I think people's opinion on something like that would actually get better over time rather than worse. Now, obviously, they probably didn't film this movie in sequence, but it felt like at the last minute they decided to say, no, he's going to be guilty. Come on, guys. That could have been a great decision to do, in my opinion, but you didn't do it. There's one scene that just stays stuck up my ass because of how stupid it is. Now, listen, I know that there are scenes probably from the old Elm Street films that I could criticize just as hard, but there's a scene in this movie where the two are sitting at a computer, Quentin and Nancy, and they're watching this guy talk about having these dreams and seeing this guy come to him, and he's obviously talking about Freddy. So they're watching these MP4 videos of him talking, and every time they pull up the new video, it gets worse and worse until they watch the last video where Freddy apparently kills this guy in his sleep because he's so tired he fell asleep filming the video. So what happens? He dies and gets his head slammed into his camera. Who uploaded that video? Somebody had to upload it. Are you telling me Freddy uploaded that video after he killed the guy? I mean, this was 2010. I don't think he was streaming. These were MP4 videos uploaded to a blog site. You mean Freddy killed this guy and took his camera, pulled out the SD card, plugged it in, uploaded the file, and posted it to the blog? What were they thinking? Again, I know that there are scenes from the old movies that you could poke fun at, but this was 2010 and a remake and a big reset. Stuff like that, I'm sorry, it's so glaring. Just as glaring as Texas Chainsaw 3D having cell phones when it's supposed to be the mid-90s. So, I get it, but I don't know. This movie takes itself so seriously and comes across as such this high-quality film that's just like so B-grade horror to me. I don't get it. Overall, this is the most frustrating of all the Platinum Dune remakes to me. I know that this is the one I like the least, but I also have to be fair and say that out of all of them, even over Halloween, despite Halloween being, in my opinion, the biggest horror movie of all time, or one of them, I think the Nightmare remake had the biggest hurdles ahead of it, and that hurdle is Robert Englund. I'm sorry. Above Nick Castle, even above Gunnar Hansen, Kane Hodder, Robert Englund is so synonymous with Freddy, you are damned if you do, damned if you don't. And like I said, there are days where I say, just forget it. You're never going to touch Robert. He is that character, and that character is him. They're so intertwined, it's like Stallone and Rocky. You can't replace him. But they really shot themselves in the foot with this movie by doing things that I think that they should have jumped at the chance to do and take risks, and instead they fold in the 11th hour. Take on top of that just the really unlikable Nancy performance in this. This film only has a few saving graces to me. Quentin being the biggest one. I think Quentin is the champion of this movie. All in all, I can't say that I even hate watching Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. I partially enjoy watching it, but it's not a remake that I really like to go back and watch that often. I don't think it has the replay value of Friday, even Texas Chainsaw or Halloween. But I do have to say that I think of all the remakes, the one that had the biggest hurdles, and probably rightfully so, is A Nightmare on Elm Street. So that is my revisiting of the 2010 Platinum Dunes remake. Overall, I'd give it one thumb in the middle. Let me know what you guys think about this film, and if I'm being too harsh on it. I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say about this one. This is your old pal CHH. Thank you guys for watching, take care, and I'll see you guys soon with those TCM remakes from Arrow Video. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.